Hello, everyone. Welcome to the pre-seen classes for March 2025 attempt. And here we have got the pre-seen, which is a really interesting industry, I must say, right? So what do we have till here is it's March 25 attempt pre-seen classes, right? Your facilitator here is Abdul Basit. I've been teaching this paper quite so long and have multiple students, those who have got distinctions, right? So I'll be giving up more details about that, but first discuss what exactly this SBL pre-seen information is and what is it for March attempt. Now, guys, think of it. Huh? See, SPL was previously a 4 hours paper, right? A lot of students asked that it's a 4 hours paper previously, and now it's 3 hours and 15 minutes. So why did this change happen, right? This is only because of pre-seen. The thing is that when the exam was of 4 hours, I believe that it takes around a lot of data. Like there were seven exhibits and a plenty of details available. And all of the ACCA exams were, I must say, 3 hours and 15 minutes, right? All of the ACCA exams were that. So the ACCA wanted to make it a more challenging by reducing the time and reducing some of the data. So the best part could be that why not sharing some data, huh? Why not sharing some data to students before? Just like in ICAEW. In ACS, ICAEW examiner does that. So in SBL, a concept came of pre-seen, right? That you should be giving a data of the industry, of the company before to the students so that students can familiarize themselves with that, and then they can particularly uh, practice the certain exams, right? So this is why the pre-seen came, in order to reduce time, in order to get students more familiarity with the industry, in order to get students more adequacy with the industry. So therefore the pre-seen came right now. It's around 3 hours and 15 minutes. It's approximately a seventh time the pre-seen is released, right? And it's dedicatedly for March 25 attempt, right? We'll be discussing the pre-seen in detail, obviously. Now, sir, what does this pre-seen classes include? Huh? Can you tell me? So, yeah, let's discuss this pre-seen classes. See, all my students, those who are registered or aren't registered yet, uh, in once the pre-seen is released, you should be totally focusing on the pre-seen, right? Now, forget all the other papers. You should be totally doing the pre-seen first, right? So, like 2 3 days, I'll be uploading some sessions for 2 3 days regularly. I'll be uploading some sessions on pre-seen. Okay, that the data they have given, right? After that, I'll prepare two mocks based on pre-seen. Now, this is the game changer thing, right? Two mocks based on pre-seen. This is something that leads to a pass if you attempt it in a good manner. Now, if these two things are done, we'll search for attempting those papers, like look for those papers which are quite similar to your pre-seen. Look for those exams which are quite similar, right? Quite similar to pre-seen. Now, why quite similar to pre-seen? The thing is that, see, industry repeats itself, right? There are certain industries that can be tested again and again. Just like in this particular area of pre-seen, right? In this particular area of pre-seen, if you remember, it's a charitable organization now. In March 25, if you have read this, since I just finished reading, it's charitable organization. Now that means if it's charitable organization, now that means that you have papers like NCCP, I believe, It was a charitable organization back in 4 hours exam. I remember I used to solve this with the students as well. So NCCP is quite a similar paper or kind of a similar industry. And similarly, there are many others as well in previous patterns of SBL as well. So guys, these pre-seen classes is basically 2 3 days regular classes on pre-seen, then 2 mocks based on pre-seen, and then look for the exams which are similar. And once you have done these all things, just go and give the paper, right? Just go and give the paper. So I'm writing the number as well of mine. Now, let's discuss what exactly this content table is, like what exactly this provides. Obviously, examiner has given you industry insights, right? Why examiner has given the pre-seen to give you the industry insights. And yes, believe me, guys, if any one of you guys have worked or have contributed in this industry, have worked, then SBL is easy for them. Because whichever industry the examiner tested, if I worked in, let's say I worked in a charitable organization, I know how they work. I know what donations they got. I know what's the right for them, what's the wrong for them, what are the inflows, what are the outflows. So that means that there are highly likely greater chances that you're going to be acing this paper because you have an insight on that, right? So today's class, we'll try to cover introduction, right? We'll try to cover introduction of it. Then we have Asia sector information. So this might be our country, I believe, right? This might be our country. Overview of the sector in this country, legal positions, regulations. Yeah, there are certain regulations also. We'll be reading it. So see, they have given you all these things right now. Why? Because you should familiarize yourself, and the requirements are going to be coming here from them, right? And the requirements are going to be coming here for them. So overview of charitable organization, legal positions, regulations, heritage subsector, charities and significant stakeholders. Yeah, most of the times government is also the stakeholder. We'll be reading it and we'll be getting an idea what's the income, what's the expenditure, what's the challenges. These needs to be read, and KPIs, right? Guys, this is a really difficult thing to monitor the performance of not-for-profit entities, right? The KPIs, it's unlike the profitability, because in profit-making entities, I remember it's kind of a easy thing. In profit-making entity, it's too easy, like compare GP margin, NP margin, these things and that. This is too easy. But if you're talking about these KPIs, like of not-for-profit, so it's 3 V's approach, and sometimes it's tailor-made KPIs. Now we have to look for it, right? We'll be covering each of the area in detail. Don't worry, yeah. We'll be covering each of the area in detail. Then there are historic places. This might be a company name. I believe this is the company name. So we'll be reading it. We'll getting an idea, the background, values, governance. Now, governance is the favorite topic, right? It's for sure. And yeah, one more thing that I would be making it, that we'll be predicting the requirements as well, because in while reading pre-seen, you'll be getting to know exactly some of the things that this is for sure going to be tested, right? So predicting some requirements, and that predicting some requirements will be tested in those mocks that I'm going to make on pre-seen, right? And those mocks that I'm going to make on pre-seen. So predicting some requirements are here. Then we have 2 mocks based on pre-seen and all that. So mission values, governance, board structure, code of conduct. So this is an important chapter, I believe. You must have covered through theoretical classes. If haven't, just read it. Don't worry. Acquisition. So they are acquiring something now. This is something, a challenge, I believe, because not for profit sector, if it's acquiring certain sites, so there might be heavy expenses involved, there might be heavy parties involved, there might be certain great donations involved. That what's the channel of those donations? You have to think of it, right? Then risks and systems. We have an extract of website and non-financial information. So guys, this is and particularly content table of your particular, I must say, pre-seen for March 25. Let's discuss introduction first. and have an idea. See, the introduction page is I believe is one of the most important page, right? Why, sir? Why it's the most important page? The thing is, it gives you idea about the industry. It gives you a greater aspect of requirements as well, right? Because here you'll get to know what's happening around. Here you'll get to know that what's happening around. And if you are knowing it, that what's happening around, so this is highly likely you can think of the requirements, right? And at end, we'll be making requirements as well that this is going to be tested, right? Let me find out a blank page. Yeah, here, so that I can write requirements, prediction of requirements as well, right? Yeah. So Historic Places is a charity which operates in the country of Asia. So I guess this is our company's name, right? And this is our country's name. It aims to preserve historical sites in Asia. So I believe this is not kind of a donation that helps poverty or kind of these things. It's basically an organization that's working towards maintaining the historical sites. It's basically an organization that's working towards while making and managing the historical sites across AirAsia. So AirAsia sector information, right? Now, overview of charitable sector. Charitable organizations promote the welfare of the society, right? Charitable organization, charities, welfare of the society and public interest. Yeah, see, they are not working for profits, they are working for public interest. This is what making it difficult to monitor the performance, right? This is what makes difficult to monitor the performance. The thing is that they are working for public interest. You cannot identify like how much interest they have satisfied and how much they haven't, right? So monitor performance here is difficult. They carry out many different activities, including helping the sick and disabled, okay, and providing poverty relief and education, preserving history, and campaigning on issues affecting society. So that means they are kind of a normal charitable sector. It's just not maintaining the old historic places, but they work for activities including with sick, helping the sick and disabled, providing poverty, relief, education, and preserving history and campaigning issues affecting society. Right? Now, see, uh, making or going for a particular charitable organization, they have different and they have subjective objectives, right? They haven't got objectives which are very easy to determine. They have a subjectivity involved. Now, let me give you an example. I used to work at a profit-making entity, but that profit-making entity has a subsidiary which was not for profit-making entity. Right now, think of it. Now, listen of it. That profit making entity has a subsidy. Now, this is my personal experience, right? Entity. And this is what I bring, right? While teaching this paper, I give you the insights of the corporation. So, profit making entity, they have a subsidiary which is not for profit. Now, I'm giving you an example that how particularly there's a subjectivity involved. So, what the subsidiaries work was, rather than relieving of the poverty or any of the things which are understood as a charity, the thing is they work for maintaining roads, right? Roads across remote areas. So remote areas, there are certain remote areas in Pakistan where are no roads at all. So this not for profit entity used to make up walls, the bricks, not exactly the road which is used in types of cars, but the roads based on bricks. They used to make it, right? Similarly, another issue in the area that this not-for-profit entity used to resolve was infections, like eye infections, lung infections, any infections through medicine or through any sort of medical relief they could bring. Now, see, they are not just donating the money, right? Now, so how this entity was funded? How this entity was funded? This was funded on a criteria that the parent company on a criteria that a parent company would denote 1% of PAT every year to this subsidiary. And through this 1% of PAT, they'll manage these functions. And there's an other function as well, like if any employee of the parent company, employee of parent company, if gets sick or they haven't got enough funds to resolve, so employee of parent, they also used to go to, like let me give you an example. Like if there isn't someone who's working in this profit making entity but not earning well or not have the good financial numbers with them, and they have some severe concerns with their health, so they used to write an application. This was diverted to this, and it's one of the objective was to support employees as well, right? Now, see, how this not for profit works is it's totally a subjective manner. There are certain governance guidelines in the profit making entity, but in not for profit making entity, the all governance guides are the sectors that have made them, right? So I'm not saying that this is tested in the not for profit entity or in this pre seen, but the thing is that I used to give you these insights because I've worked and I know exactly what's happening in the industry and how they used to work, right? So this is how this pre-scene needs to be covered with relevant examples and what exactly is going in the inside as well. And in fact, if you have worked every year, you can share your examples with me, right? Please share your examples as well of whoever is seeing. I'm posting this class on YouTube. Whoever is seeing this particular uh, podcast of mine or this video, you can exactly share your examples, my numbers with you as well, and I'll be writing that in the end, right? So they have a work on relief, education, history, campaigning, and issues affecting society. Now, funds through various methods, yeah, just like what the my entity used to do is 1% of PAT is the fund of that, right? Now, this entity includes donations by those who support their work and commercial activities. The charitable sector includes large national charities and small charities which operate on a single site. Now, see, this is the industry that you can be either the large charitable industry, or you can be a national charity that's particularly to the company. Now, this is not the company yours, right? This is about the industry, like what's exactly happening in AirDacia sector's charitable organization. And you can be smaller charities as well, right? And you can be smaller charities as well. And you also be remembering that this is a volunteer work, right? You don't have the payroll or kind of these things here. Now, legal positions. So one more thing, guys, there are certain politicians involved, governments involved, so there are kind of legal issues that needs to be taken care of in it, particularly to this, right? So charitable legal position. Now, charities in AirAsia are often set up as companies limited by guarantee. So this is a company as a limited liability or limited by guarantee. A company limited by guarantee does not have any shares or shareholders, right? It is underwritten by guarantors, right? So no shareholders. Kindly note these points, right? I'm writing for you. No shareholders. In fact, they have guarantors, right? They have guarantors, no shareholders, and they have guarantors. Okay, who pay for the specified amount of money to help settle its debts only in the event of insolvency. Now, surpluses are not distributed to the guarantors but invested in the charity. Now, this is the main line which every one of you have thought. that the balance that they got to have in their accounts after doing all the activities shall be distributed to the guarantors. Guys, it's not the profit making. The guarantors are not the investors, so they won't be getting any money, right? Whatever the funds that have been received or left, they should be invested in charity to help promote its charitable objectives, right? Now, charities' activities are determined by their growing or governing document, constitution, or you can also call them articles of association, AOA, right? Remember, you must have remember those in your particular FO exam, law exam. Now, many charities raise funds by means of surpluses from commercial activities. For example, running shops. Commercial activities are carried out through subsidiary companies with charities wholly owned. So many charities raise funds, right, by means of surpluses of commercial activities, running shops. Now they out carry out through subsidiary companies. In fact, my example fits here, right? My example fits here now. Like this was wholly owned subsidiary, right? So, and believe me, guys, I'm reading it first time. I'm reading it first time for you. I didn't know that my example would fit it in the industry that in Air Asia is going on now. Charity and regulation. So, 100% owned by parent, right? This needs to be highlighted. Now, charities in AirAsia are regulated by the Charity Supervisor Board established by AirAsia's central government. The CSB aims to ensure that the general public can be confident that donations to charities will be used for proper charitable purpose. So there's a governance board here. It's kind of a top level country that they are presenting. In every country, there's no board kind of charity monitoring, but if there is, so it's fine. So CSB is might be the principle. So if there's a concept of a principle, so there's a concept of agency, and if these are the concepts, so my first prediction would be that an agency relationship might be tested, right? My first prediction would be that agency relationship, because if there's a concept of board given here, so there can be a kind of any scenario uh, that the whether my objectives are satisfied, whether the companies are working with the guidelines mentioned by principles or not. So this could be a tailor-made requirement, agency relationship, right? So if there's a board involved, now this is what makes it more important, right? Yeah. So established by AirAsia's central government, okay? The CSB aims to ensure that the general public can be confident that donations to charities will be used to proper charitable purposes. So it's fine, proper charitable purposes. The CSB investigates allegations that charities are not acting in accordance with their charitable objectives. So, kind of an investigation processes as well. So, I believe that this board is active board and working as well, because some of the boards didn't work. So, working board. Huh? Now, are behaving unethically, are misusing funds, or otherwise breaching regulations. Guys, so I believe that you and I, we live in the same world, right? And we know what happens on the back of these charitable organizations. So we live in same world, right? So we have certain cases as well, the scams involved there. So see, what they have given you an idea that there is a board that used to monitor each and every charitable organization. So you must be seeing that they have constructed a phenomena that no one particularly can breach out. Then there can be certain license revocation, there can be certain issues and all that they used to discuss, right? So that means they have constructed this. And believe me, guys, I believe it's my personal experience of teaching this paper, my personal experience that I used to write here, right? PE, the personal experience. Not for profit is usually difficult, right? Not for profit is usually difficult in exam condition rather than a commercial sector, right? Rather than a commercial sector, I believe this not-for-profit sector is usually a difficult one, right? Not-for-profit sector is usually a difficult one. There can be certain complex terms. Guys, I believe I am lucky that while working, I got to know about the not-for-profit entity. But most of my fellows, in fact, yet they haven't had an idea of the not-for-profit accounting, finance, and all that. So it's kind of a luck that I used to have, that I got an idea of this industry inside. And similarly, like out of these hundreds and hundreds of students, some of have an idea that what exactly how it exactly this industry operates, right? But just for all of you, that for this particular pre-scene, you have to focus more, you have to think of more points, because it's one of the difficult industry, right? Now the content of charity accounts is governed by Statement of Recommended Practice, SORP, published by CSB. So I must say the rules that we have to adhere to, they have been given in this statement. And the CSB requires all charity accounts to be audited. Our auditor was EY, so I believe that they must have the good auditor as well. Larger charities whose annual income exceeds $10 million needs to report on internal control and risk management systems. So guys, controls, risk managements, these are the favorite requirements, right? I have been saying it in all the pre-scenes, like there is no SBL exam in past couple of attempts that there are no risk or control deficiencies, right? And in certain kind of sectors where the profits are not the deciders, so the risk and controls are the ones that are for sure an area that can be tested, right? So agency relationship, then we have risk and controls. And I'm writing the page number as well, that I commented on it on page 2. I commented on it on page 2. So you must have a good idea of it, right? Now, larger risk management, large entities, and whose annual income is $10 million, exceeds $10 million. So are we larger or not? So no, not idea. So no idea. We'll be seeing our company in this information later. This is the industry information. So we'll see that and we'll have an idea that what exactly are we, right? What exactly are we? The criteria to define large or small is this $10 million. Okay. Now, with the report being reviewed by the charity's external auditors, now charities and commercial subsidiaries wholly owned by charities are not subject to taxation in AirAsia, right? So charities and commercial subsidiaries wholly owned by charities are not subject to taxation. So it's also a greater aspect that 0%, no tax, right? No tax. In Pakistan, there are certain different criteria for tax, but for whatever country that you have been given, they have told you that wholly owned charities are not subject to taxation, right? So guys, we did introduction, historic places by reading the company name. We had an idea that this used to preserve the history and all that, but they do other things as well. Then overview of the charitable sector. This is industry insights, right? This is industry insights, and this is what we used to do. Then we have legal positions, right? And this is an important area. I must be writing an important area here. The thing is important area. So why the important area? The reason is that there are certain mishappening involved in this. So strict regulations to be followed. Strict regulations to be followed. Then we have regulations here, a board, a regulatory board, charity supervisory board, then statements of regulatory recommended practice. So guidelines to follow, each and everything is there. Each and everything. Criteria for large and small that we have, right? Now, the last thing to be covered today is heritage subsector. What's that? Heritage subsector, and what's that? Huh? So many charities in Asia exist for the purpose of preserving the country's heritage at urban and rural sites. Like these are the sites that used to preserve by the people that are used to preserve by the people. Many charities are there, and why are they? Because here where history drives. Now this is where the history of yours drives. Everyone came from those areas, right? So some of the sectors that I still know are working to preserve those areas. So means things of historical and cultural value which are worthy of preservation, right? How your culture is drive. People used to preserve that. Some of and culture is basically a kind of a culture is basically that unquestionable thing, right? If someone is not questioning you by doing anything, now that's part of your culture. See, I'm in a blue shirt, right? You won't be laughing at me. The thing is that boy used to wear the blue shirts, blue pants, black pants, but all of a sudden, if I came down with a pink shirt and having a yellow cap and a yellow flower on my head, so that means you will be saying that what happened to the sir, right? Because automatically a question would arrive. At blue shirt, you were not questioning me because this is what a culture is, right? An unquestionable thing. Now the thing is that why use people used to value its culture, because the things that these are the values that have driven us, and if we forgot these values, I gave you a lame example of the shirts. Shirt is not exactly the value, but the thing is that there are certain values that needs to be taken care of, and these are kind of a huge investments from people of the time, of the money. So these are the organizations that are working to preserve those cultures, right? Now, charities in the heritage subsector conserve and maintain historical sites and objects kept at those sites. They generally allow public admission to the sites which they maintain. So, kind of an revenue generation, I must say. If they charge or not, I don't know, but this can be a revenue generation activity, because whenever we used to go to the cultural sites, they used to charge up plenty of money to in terms of maintaining that, right? Charity aims to bring history to life for visitors. Yeah, a country's selling point, showing its history. They seek to encourage public appreciation, right? Public appreciation is their selling history, also is a business, or showing history, right? A business also. I don't know how my company operates, guys. I haven't read this case, but since it was the first day that it released, I used to consistently deliver some of the insights that I have so that you guys could also research, right? Now, they seek to encourage public appreciation, participation in heritage. This includes encouraging members of the public to visit sites and work for the charities as unpaid volunteers, right? So I told you there are unpaid volunteers, right? No monetary benefits for people. So they are working with their dedication, with their self actualization. There is no monetary benefits here, right? No monetary benefits here for people, right, guys? Some of the students used to ask this, right? Some of the students used to ask uh, this with particularly that I should be sending this annotated notes. I will be sending it. Don't worry. There are certain important pointers that I've written. I'll be sending it, but I used to complete first and then I'll send it, right? It will take me around 2 days, 3 days that I'll be completing it, and then I'll surely send it to you. Now, guys, before ending the session, see, there are certain aspects of preparation that you should be taken care of. I'm announcing a crash course, right, for all the students, and obviously it's complimentary for all the enrolled students that are enrolled in our SBL batch, right? So aspects of preparation, how to do. See, in the crash course, what I'm going to do is I'll be covering. At first, you'll be getting previous classes, right? At first, you'll be getting previous sessions that I've conducted, right? Previous sessions I've conducted, you'll be getting it first, right? That I've conducted on SBL's different case study to give you an idea of drafting, right? To give you an idea of drafting. And then obviously you'll be seeing the pre-seen classes, right? Pre-seen classes. Now these are the preparatory aspects, right? The coverage of pre-seen. It's mandatory, right? It should be covered. No one can skip this. Coverage needs to be done. So this is that we have got in the preparatory session, right? Now, after that, sir, what will happen after that? I'll be making up mocks, right? Mocks based on pre-seen. So this is kind of an pre-seen. One I'll be solving in the crash. One I will be solving in crash, and the other one would be solved by you. I'll be marking, right? The second mock will be marked by me. Those who are enrolled will get the marking facility as well, marked by me, okay? Now, once these are done, we still would have time. We'll do other not-for-profit organizations exam, just like NCCP. I remember there was one more exam. I remember I must say that not-for-profit have been tested twice when the exam was of 4 hours, like NCCP, and I must say Optima, or kind of a particular question. I have it with me. I've been teaching this paper the day from this paper has released, so don't worry. So I have all the sets of the previous papers. So NCCP and one more paper, we'll be doing it. You can do it by yourself. And after that, reading of examiner answers. See, reading of examiner answers, I believe, are important. This sets the tone, right? This sets the tone of drafting, like you can see. And therefore, once we have seen previous classes, once we have seen the previous pre-seen classes, then we have attempted the mocks in which one I have attempted, the second mock will be attempted by you. Then the papers that are similar to that industry will be solving, and we'll be reading the exam answers. Once you guys have done this in these 15 days, if it's done, so guys, it's totally done and dusted. Your paper, inshallah, gonna be cleared with some good marks, right? So this was the first pre-seen session that I uploaded on my channel. I must be uploading a couple of other sessions, but in case you want a complete course, do text me on my number. Yeah, my number is here, +92 331 2623 849. My name is Abdul Basit, and I teach papers. I myself is ACA and ACCA. I've done ICAW and ACCA as well. And apart from that, if there is, I used to teach SBL and APM exams of ACCA, right? So in case of any help regarding this paper, regarding the other paper, you can contact me on this WhatsApp number, right? And if you guys need any details, if you guys need any segments of the classes, I'm there to help. I'm just a text away. This is my WhatsApp number, and I'm looking forward to hearing a response. By the time you see this class, it's your assignment. If this particular page has been studied by you, with this class, try to research on these industries, right? Like how these industries work, how these industries are maintained, how these industries are particularly well managed. So you should be having in greater insights of what's happening, just like I gave you an example of my company. In the next class, I'll be posting it on the social media channels as well. I'll be covering these significant stakeholders, right? And incomes, expenditure, and all that. And then we have our company's data. So 3 more sessions on pre-seen in which we'll be covering this all. And then I'll make mocks and crash course will begin, right? So one more thing at last that I'll say, that if still you guys haven't started the preparation, no need to worry. try this plan. I'm not saying to enroll. I'm just saying to try. If you can try these on your own, guys, you can easily get this step, right? Well, let's hope for the best and see you all in the upcoming class. Till then, those who have seen this class, please text me on WhatsApp so that I can add you in my relevant group, right? You must text me on WhatsApp so that I can add you on my relevant WhatsApp group, where I used to keep sharing details as well. And this is how this course will begin or will end, inshallah, with the good marks. Okay. Thank you and best of luck.